In the summer of 2019, I was sent to Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah. Officially, I was there to document fluctuations in atmospheric pressure connected to seasonal monsoon patterns. Unofficially, I had been told, quietly, that ranchers were reporting aerial disturbances. That was the phrase used in the email. Not sightings. Disturbances. The basin stretches wide and empty beneath a pale sky. Flat-topped mesas, dry scrub, oil pump jacks nodding endlessly, their slow mechanical bowing the only sign of rhythm in a place that feels otherwise suspended in time. I rented a small prefab house on the outskirts of a town that barely deserved its name. 2 gas stations, a grocery store with flickering fluorescent lights, a radio station that broadcast high school sports and country music. Cell service faded 3 miles out of town. At night, the sky opened like a wound. No city glow, no aircraft routes overhead, just stars layered so thick it felt claustrophobic. The first week passed without incident. I set up pressure sensors in open fields, logged data, drank lukewarm water from plastic bottles that tasted faintly of oil from the air. But there was something else. Silence. Not the ordinary quiet of rural America. This was a heavy silence. A pressure against the ears. Even insects seemed hesitant after sundown. The rancher who owned the land adjacent to my monitoring station, a man named Curtis Hale, mentioned it offhand one evening. "You ever notice how it goes dead out here?" he asked. Dead. Like the world stepped away. He laughed when he said it, but he didn't smile. That night, around 2:17 a.m., my recorder captured a low-frequency vibration. It wasn't loud. It wasn't even audible in the room, but the pressure sensors registered a ripple, like a distant thunderhead passing without clouds. The sky outside was clear. I stepped onto the porch. The air felt metallic. Not a smell exactly, more like a taste. And the dogs in town, every single one of them, started howling at the same time. Then they stopped. All at once, the silence returned, heavier than before. 3 days later, Curtis called me. His cattle had moved. Not wandered. Moved. Every animal on 40 acres had pressed against the northern fence line, packed shoulder to shoulder, eyes fixed upward. No predator tracks. No broken fencing. They wouldn't respond to feed. "They're listening," he said over the phone. "That's what it looks like." I drove out there just before dusk. The animals stood unnaturally still. No chewing. No tail flicking. Just breath steaming faintly in the cooling air. And their ears tilted slightly toward the sky. I felt it then. A vibration beneath my boots. Subtle, like distant heavy machinery underground. Except there were no drilling operations active that week. The basin was quiet. My handheld EMF reader flickered for less than a second, then returned to baseline. That night, the local radio station experienced interference. Not static, something rhythmic. Listeners described it as a breathing sound layered beneath the music. Slow. Inhale. Exhale. The station manager blamed faulty wiring, but I recorded it. When isolated and amplified, the waveform wasn't organic. It was precise, mathematically even. 2 nights later, at 1:42 a.m., I saw the first light. Not streaking, not flashing. Stationary, high above the western mesa. A dull, amber glow. No blinking navigation lights. No sound. It hovered. Then it dimmed. Not descending. Not departing. Just fading. As if something enormous had turned away. My cameras, positioned less than half a mile from where I stood, captured nothing. Frames from that time stamp showed digital noise. Artifacts. As if the sensor briefly forgot how to interpret light. The following morning, 3 calves were missing. No blood. No tracks. No broken brush. Just empty space where animals had been. Curtis stopped joking after that. Reports began to circulate quietly. A trucker driving along Highway 40 described his headlights bending. His words, not mine. He said the beams curved upward, illuminating empty sky as if reflecting off something invisible. Then his engine stalled. Battery drained. Dash lights flickered in patterns. He abandoned the truck in the middle of the road. When State Patrol arrived 30 minutes later, the vehicle started without issue. The officer filed it as mechanical malfunction, but the trucker refused to drive that route again. My own equipment began failing. Not breaking, failing selectively. Hard drives corrupted data recorded between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. exclusively. Cameras shut down without error logs. My watch lost exactly 9 minutes one night. No restart. No dead battery. Just absence. I only realized it when my field notes didn't align with the timestamp. 9 minutes. Gone. During that gap, my porch camera captured a single frame. One frame out of thousands. The image was distorted like heat shimmer. Above the horizon, the stars bent inward, as though something vast had displaced the sky itself. It wasn't visible, only the absence around it. I drove to the mesa the next morning. The ground felt wrong. Warmer. Not hot. Just retaining heat longer than it should. My compass spun once and steadied. I remember feeling watched. Not from a direction. From above. The air pressed against my sinuses. A dull ache behind the eyes. That evening, power across the town flickered. Every home. Simultaneously. For 7 seconds. During those 7 seconds, witnesses reported a shadow passing over the entire basin. Not cast from a cloud. The sky was clear. A moving darkness. Soundless. It blocked the stars. It moved slowly. Too slowly. Then the lights returned. And the shadow was gone. It happened on August 18th, 2:03 a.m. I woke without knowing why. The room felt compressed, as if the ceiling had lowered inches from my face. No sound, not even wind. The air conditioner had shut off. The digital clock blinked blank. Total power failure. But outside, there was light. Not bright, not blinding. A diffuse glow seeping through the blinds. Pale white, almost clinical. I stepped onto the porch. The sky was wrong. Stars had shifted. Not missing. Shifted. Rearranged in subtle arcs around something I couldn't see. The glow intensified. My ears popped. Like descending rapidly in an aircraft. Pressure built in my chest. I could taste iron. And then I saw the outline. Not a craft. Not a disk. An absence. A distortion shaped roughly circular, but uneven, like oil on water. Edges trembling. Inside it, no stars, no sky, just depth. It hovered silently above the open field. Maybe 200 feet up, maybe closer. Distance felt unreliable. The ground beneath it rippled faintly, grass bending not from wind but from force. My knees weakened, not from fear, from pressure, as if gravity had shifted slightly off balance. A low hum vibrated through bone rather than air. My vision blurred at the edges. And then, something descended. Not physically, more like a narrowing of space. The distortion elongated toward the ground. Toward me. My thoughts slowed. Words fractured. I tried to step back. My body hesitated. For a moment, I felt examined. Not seen. Measured. Every nerve ending ignited with cold. A single, sharp tone pierced the silence. High frequency. Painful. Then everything went black. I woke on the porch at 5:46 a.m. Sunrise. Birds chirping. Normal. Except my shirt was damp with sweat, and my watch had stopped at 2:11 a.m. 8 minutes. Unaccounted for. My equipment inside the house was fried. Not burned. Just inert. Hard drives unreadable. Batteries drained. Curtis was gone. His truck remained parked at his ranch. Phone unanswered. Cattle scattered across the field, disoriented. 2 days later, unmarked SUVs arrived in town. Federal plates. Men in plain clothes. They visited the radio station. The sheriff's office. My rental. They asked measured questions. Suggested equipment malfunction. Atmospheric anomalies. They did not ask about lights. They did not ask about missing time. They already knew. Within a week, the story faded. No official reports. Curtis was listed as missing. Search parties found nothing. No footprints beyond his front gate. No struggle. Just absence. The same word that kept returning. Absence. I left the basin at the end of August. My final data submission was heavily redacted before it reached public archives. The original files no longer exist. I still wake at 2:03 a.m. Not every night. Just enough. Sometimes my ears pop in the quiet. Sometimes I taste metal. Medical scans show nothing abnormal. But compasses malfunction around me. Phones lose signal briefly when I enter a room. Animals react. Dogs whine. Birds scatter. I requested access to satellite imagery from that week. Denied. Classified. No explanation. The ranch land where Curtis lived was sold 6 months later to an energy company with no prior interest in agriculture. The house was demolished. No debris remains. Officially, nothing happened in the Uinta Basin. No sightings. No electromagnetic disturbances. No missing persons connected to aerial phenomena. But if you stand out there long enough, if you wait past midnight, you'll notice how the silence thickens, how the stars sometimes seem slightly misplaced. And if you look carefully, you might see them bend, as if something vast is still there, unseen, watching, waiting, and measuring. The sky above that basin is not empty. It is occupied. We just cannot perceive what occupies it. Not fully. Not yet.